Hello, boys and girls. It's been a long time, hasn't it? I hope you remember me. My name is Father Paul, and I am the priest at Old Lakenham St. John's Parish and Tuxwood St. Paul's Parish. I almost forgot my second church. It's so good to be with you. It's been such a long time, and even though I can't see you, I hope that you're having a very good day. I want to introduce to you a friend of mine. This is Togo. He is a Senegal parrot, and he's about 26 years old, so he gets a little bit cranky. Maybe he'll yell. I don't know if he will, but we'll find out in a moment because he'll be squawking. Well, once again, it's really good to be with you, and thank you for allowing me to come into your classroom today. This is a time of year when many people give thanks. I know that I have a lot to be thankful for, and I hope that you do as well. I wonder what sorts of things you are thankful for at this time. Your parents, your friends, your family, your teachers. I'm thankful for all the workers in the NHS, those who've been taking care of people these past several months who've been ill. I'm thankful also for those who've helped to bring food to our tables so that we can have enough to eat. Also, at this time of year, I like to remember to give thanks for all of creation, the beauty of trees and grass, blowing wind, rocks, the seashore, all the things that make up this wonderful world, especially the animals and the pets that we know and love. I wonder if you have a pet. Do you have a pet? Raise your hand. Maybe a dog or a cat, or maybe you're like me and you have a bird. Or maybe if you don't have a pet, you have a favorite animal, like a rhinoceros, or a rhinoceros, or hippopotamus, or an elephant, or maybe even a caterpillar. I have lots of favorite animals. I want to talk a bit about a man named Francis who lived, many, many years ago. He was a holy man. He was someone who loved all of the creation, and he especially had a love for all the animals in creation. As a matter of fact, in my garden, I have a statue of Saint Francis with birds all around him. And I'd like to read to you a story about Saint Francis, and this is called How Saint Francis Freed Some Doves and Made Nests for Them. A boy of the town of Siena caught a number of turtle doves in a snare, and he was carrying them all alive to the market to sell them. But Francis, who was always very kind and wonderfully compassionate, especially toward gentle animals and little birds, was stirred by love and pity on seeing the doves. And he said to the boy who was carrying the doves, "Good boy, please give me those doves. They're such innocent birds. Holy Scripture says they're symbols of pure, humble, and faithful souls. I don't want them to fall into the hands of cruel men who will kill them." The boy was inspired so much that he gave all the doves to St. Francis. When the kind St. Francis had gathered them to his chest, he began to talk to them in a very gentle way, saying, "My simple, innocent sister doves," I like that he calls them his sisters, don't you? "Why did you let yourselves be caught? I want to rescue you from death and make nests for you where you can lay your eggs and fulfill the Creator's commandment to multiply." And St. Francis took them with him and made a nest for all of them. And the doves settled in the nests made by St. Francis and laid their eggs and reared their young right among the friars as they increased in numbers. Friars are monks, holy men who lived with St. Francis. He let them live like chickens that had always been raised, and they did not leave until St. Francis gave them the permission with his blessing. The saint has said to the boy who gave him the doves, "My son, one day you'll become a holy man in this order, just like me." And it happened as the saint foretold. Later the boy entered Francis's community and through the merits of St. Francis, he led a praiseworthy and very exemplary life until he died. How St. Francis rescued some doves. I love that story. We have all sorts of stories that tell us about the love of us for our fellow creatures. Taking care of animals is very important. If you have a pet at home, you want to make sure that it's fed well, that it gets plenty of exercise and play, and that it's being taken care of if it ever gets sick. We love our animals and we want them to be well, don't we? I have another story about another saint called Kevin who lived in Ireland. And this is a story about Kevin and the blackbird. I seem to have an affinity for stories that have birds. I wonder why. Don't tell Togo that. One season, St. Kevin, as was his way, fled from the company of people to a certain place apart, and in a little hut that did but keep out the sun and the rain, and gave himself earnestly to reading and to prayer, and his leisure to contemplation alone. And as he knelt in his accustomed fashion, with his hand outstretched through the window, and lifted up to heaven, a blackbird settled on it, and busying herself, as in her nest, laid in it an egg. And so moved was St. Kevin that in all patience and gentleness he remained, neither closing nor withdrawing his hand. But until the young ones were fully hatched, he held out unwearied, shaping it for the purpose. And for a sign of perpetual remembrance of this thing, all images that you may see of St. Kevin throughout Ireland show a blackbird in his outstretched hand. Now, I would put my hand outstretched for Togo, but sometimes he gets kind of mean, or it doesn't really mean to be mean, but he tends to want to nibble on me and bite me. Can you wave, Togo? Can you wave? You're not waving now, you're stretching your wing. Oh, there you go, you're waving. Very good. So maybe when you go home today, or maybe right there in your classroom, if you have a pet or a favorite animal that you like, maybe you'd like to draw a picture of it and color it in and maybe show me the next time I'm able to be with you in person. Or if you don't have a pet or not a particularly favorite animal, maybe you have a stuffed animal that you'd like to draw a picture of. Something to remind you of the creation that we all live in. I have a little, what I call a Thanksgiving that I like to say around my bird. And I will have copies of this, or I'll send copies of this to your teacher so that you can have a copy of it yourselves. So the next time you're around your pet or a favorite animal of yours, you might want to just get near it and say, "Thank you, Togo, for being my friend. Thank you for the joy you bring to me and the love you give. Thank you for being with me when I am sad or lonely. Thank you for being with me when I am happy and well. But most of all, thank you for helping me to know how to take care of you and all other creatures who are in the world." Well, that's all I have for you today, boys and girls. I hope this has been a helpful time for you to think about those animals and parts of creation that you enjoy and how we can give back to them by taking special care of them. Well, I'm going to see if Togo will say goodbye. I'm going to say goodbye and see if he will wave. Can you wave? Can you wave? No, you don't really want to wave, do you? Okay. Goodbye.